Human performance of all types has always been something of interest to me. I don't think that I've ever been in a class throughout my years of school that has to do with history, economics, or math and thought that it's what I want to do when I'm older. One of the first classes that I took that opened me up with working with allied health was anatomy in high school. Seeing the incredible ways that the human body works was just so interesting to me, and I wanted to learn more. It led me to choosing my major of exercise science in college, which would help me get into the world of allied health of all types. One of the main career interests that has always intrigued me is physical therapy. Starting back from middle school all the way until now, I've sustained many injuries playing sports that have led me to needing physical therapy, recovering from multiple surgeries, and smaller injuries. Being someone that has successfully recovered from these injuries with major help from my therapists, it really made me want to be able to do the same for others because I know how difficult it can be through the process of recovery. But being able to put in the physical work to get back to normal is very rewarding, and I want that for others. This is also why I looked into athletic training. It's the same idea of bringing back athletes into their sport that they love and helping them through the process. My athletic trainers in high school and here in college have been and still are a huge reason why I've been able to have success in my sport, whether it's getting stretched out before a game or taking me through workouts recovering from a surgery. A more recent career path I've grown a lot of interest in is strength and conditioning coach. Being in a college sport and seeing all that goes into technical training and variations of training between each sport is very interesting to me. Also seeing the huge physical improvements that these strength and conditioning coaches can push athletes towards is incredible, and I love being around that environment all the time. My passion for lifting and physical improvement has pushed me into considering this career path as a realistic option for me. I've also written workout programs for my parents in the past, so looking into information on what I need to do for their specific goals gave me a small feel of what the career might feel like. Now I will go into the activities that I took part in for this project. The first engagement activity I completed, and the activity that I participated in the most, was shadowing the weight room at ISU sports teams in Redbird Arena. I would stand in the weight room right by where every lift was going on, watching how the coaches interacted with the athletes and the variations of lifts between the sports. The sports that I watched work out were track and field sprinters, the swim and dive team, the softball team, the golf team, and both freshman football players and older football players. Outside of my observation hours, I lift every morning with the baseball team, so I experience how our trainer interacts with us and the lifts we do for my sport. Another engagement activity that I took part in was attending the 2021 Etzer Larson McGinnis Scholar Lecture webinar with special guest Darla Castelli. Darla is a professor at the School of Kinesiology and Recreation at the University of Texas. She explained many different programs that their school has done for the youth community in Texas and how they were able to adjust things, making sure the kids are getting the proper physical education they need from a home setting. This was pretty interesting to me because it gave me an idea of what went on behind the scenes developing programs for kids during hard times. They also create programs even when it's not with COVID, and there was an app some elementary schools are using where students can track their physical education on the app, and other subjects in the school are incorporating the data from the app into their classes, so the students have like a real life experience with each subject, comparing it to what physical activity they did. The last engagement activity that I did was conduct an interview with my team's athletic trainer, Andrew Benning, who is a licensed associate athletic trainer at Illinois State University. He is the trainer for the baseball team and the women's tennis team, as well as in charge of the GAs and hiring of certain positions in the field. He gave me a great idea of what responsibilities are involved in the career, what schooling and classes helped him be successful in his area, and the changes that the career undertook with COVID hitting. I've briefly talked with him about his job in the past, but conducting this interview gave me a lot more insight to the career that I've never gotten. Throughout this professional engagement, I had many good insights on different careers, hearing helpful information from professionals and watching how they work. I think the most beneficial activity I did was shadow in Redbird Arena for different sports teams. I went into the weight room at my designated time, stood on the side, writing down the lifts that I saw and questions that I had to ask the coaches afterwards. For example, a couple questions I had were, what is the difference between a hang clean and a power clean, and why does the track team do it but the baseball team doesn't? And what are the main muscle groups targeted for golfers, a sport that is more technical than power-based? I learned that a hang clean and a power clean are really no different, but if the athletes are not as experienced in cleans, a power clean has a lot more room for error, and technique is important in that lift. I also learned during a great talk with the golf strength coach that 90% of the lifts done with athletes of all sports are generally the same. They're the main muscle groups of the upper body, the lower body, and core that help with the base strength, and the other 10% is directed towards the individual sport. Golf uses a lot of rotational movement, so there is an extra focus on core strength. I found this experience the most beneficial because I learned many things that will not only help me in the path of being a strength and conditioning coach, but also help me with personal improvement and any future goals that I have physically. Reflection. My career goals in total have not changed a ton, although I gained a bit more interest in becoming a strength and conditioning coach. I do have a lot of experience in the world of physical therapy, but experiencing what goes on in the strength and conditioning for this project interests me a lot. A pro of this career path is that I get to learn and teach about improving the human body to its peak performance. Athletes get their chances for becoming successful in their sport with the proper strength and conditioning, and that's very rewarding as a coach. Also, when learning about everything in the career path, I can use that information to help others out that I'm close with if they need the proper training. A con of the career path is it doesn't make as much money as other jobs on average. I would say the most important thing that I learned from this experience was the information the strength coach gave me comparing and contrasting the different lifts and how they do it between each sport. Also, just watching how the coaches ran and interacted within their lifts with the team gave me a great idea what the job would be like. Some characteristics that I think I have for success. The first one would be, I think that my determination of improving the body to its potential would help in this career path because I would motivate and do everything I can to help these athletes get to where they need to be. Another characteristic I possess is confidence in what I do, and in this job, it is very important to have confidence. The more confidence you have in your ability, the more trust the athletes you train will have. I know from my personal experience with my strength coach, he's very confident in how he runs his workouts, and myself as well as all my teammates work harder because we know that these lifts are going to benefit us and not cause harm. Thank you.